and of course it sends it in different directions. But in the downtown, because of the high number of people using our public squares, our public parks, they're in fact being basically beaten into submission. In many places, you can only even grow grass because of the amount of people that are gathering on green spaces. Being able to use parks levies to create public space that's usable and usable with high intense use, and also large festivals now being staged, like the problems we're experiencing at Queen's Park, but also the problems that we're having in Nathan Phillips Square. These are public gathering spaces. They are recreational spaces. They may not have grass covering them, but they are in fact urban parks, and we need to find a way to include squares and parks as part of the public amenity we have in our neighborhoods. And while it may change the money flowing to a green space, it may actually improve the hard spaces so that they can take some of the pressure off of our green spaces and therefore require fewer dollars for maintenance.
I guess my question was, you are aware that hard spaces are already
buildings,
funded.
Recreational buildings are, but Nathan Phillips Square, as an example, is not eligible.
Thank you. So you're saying that doesn't make any sense, that a hard building might be and a hard surface can't be.
We're agreeing with each other, yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Matlow.
Couple of questions through Mr. Chair. So is it your understanding, Councillor Vaughan, that the Spadina and College area is not part of the tall building study, right?
Right.
So why would you not bring this as a separate item at some point for us to consider, rather than try to attach it onto the study that we're considering?
Because currently those two avenues have tall buildings forecast for them. In fact, there are applications in for 42 stories on College Street in one case. It's now come down to about 20, but 20 is still taller than anything else we've ever had on College Street. So trying to understand the fact College and Spadina have become areas where tall buildings are now circling the block effectively, and they, I think, are more properly governed by tall building guidelines as special areas, where you may be able to site tall buildings at particular nodes, but you would not want mid-block. And so to define exactly how those buildings should operate, in much the same way the Bloor Visioning Study governs this document rather than this document governing Bloor Street, we want similar vision corridor studies done for College and Spadina for very separate reasons. On Spadina, it's about protecting heritage and having a strategy to protect heritage and also to frame Spadina differently. The mid-block guidelines, because the extraordinary width of Spadina, would allow for extraordinary heights on podiums. And once you get there, the argument for towers becomes almost by default. So we want to get those planning rules in place ahead of it. And we think tall building guidelines, because of the way it comes out of City Place and moves north, is critical to understand how we step it down and how we merge it.
Would you not agree, though, that Spadina Avenue, given the fact that it's part of downtown, it has a streetcar right of way, that there may be reasonable redevelopment of mid-rise
We have
buildings.
a great project coming in at the corner of Spadina in front for 400,000 square feet of office space. That's fantastic. If that height was allowed for condominiums on Spadina, I would not get another office building in that area. So what we need are tall building guidelines that are more prescriptive and proactive than simply waiting for the problem to arrive and not having the tools to fight it. On College Street, it's a different challenge. The university has a need to expand their institutional capacity. Institutional use is not forecast onto College Street currently under the existing zoning. What we're trying to figure out how to do is how to create sort of a licorice all sort process that embeds retail at grade, that puts residential as a component, but also allows for institutional use. And that might be the way to build the intensification on College Street in such a way that it's not just condos, it's a much more diverse dynamic that includes institutional space.
So
some of that will be high-rise.
So to sum it up, what am I inferring correctly, that what you're trying to do is create a clear vision for how these streets are going to grow, and you're piggybacking on the item today to make this happen?
Yeah, because in the same way that Yonge Street is identified in this report, I think College and Spadina need the similar designation.
Okay, I get that.
Okay.
Okay, and just one last thing, and very briefly, and then the permit process that you're suggesting, you're not trying to prescribe. You're simply just wanting us to have a report so that we can compare and contrast the two systems.
It may be a way of getting at inclusionary zoning. It may be a way of getting at family housing in a different context, and it may give some certainty.
You just want to compare.
Yep, I want to compare.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Councillor McConnell to speak.